Mastering cybersecurity risk assessment. Only a handful of guardians stand between cyber catastrophe and your organization's survival. Who are the stakeholders responsible for identifying and evaluating the key components of a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment that effectively addresses organizational assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and controls to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of sensitive data and systems? The stakeholders responsible for identifying and evaluating the key components of a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment are multidisciplinary and may vary depending on the organization's size, industry, and complexity. Senior management. They are responsible for providing strategic direction, allocating resources, and setting risk tolerance levels for the organization. They must understand the cybersecurity risk landscape and ensure that the risk assessment is aligned with the organization's overall goals and objectives. Chief Information Security Officer, CISO. The CISO is responsible for overseeing the cybersecurity risk assessment and ensuring that it is comprehensive, accurate, and actionable. They must have a deep understanding of the organization's information assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and controls. Risk Management Team. This team is responsible for identifying, assessing, and prioritizing risks across the organization. They must work closely with the CISO and other stakeholders to ensure that cybersecurity risks are integrated into the organization's overall risk management framework. IT and security teams. These teams are responsible for providing technical expertise and implementing security controls to mitigate identified risks. They must have a deep understanding of the organization's networks, systems, and applications, as well as the threats and vulnerabilities that affect them. Business units and department heads. These stakeholders are responsible for providing input on the criticality and sensitivity of specific assets, as well as the potential impact of a security breach on their respective areas of operation. Compliance and regulatory teams. These teams are responsible for ensuring that the organization complies with relevant laws, regulations, and industry standards related to cybersecurity. They must work closely with the CISO and risk management team to ensure that the risk assessment is aligned with compliance requirements. Third-party vendors and service providers. Depending on the organization's use of outsourced services or third-party vendors, these stakeholders may be responsible for providing information on the security controls and risks associated with their services. Industry experts and consultants. In some cases, organizations may engage industry experts or consultants to provide specialized knowledge and expertise in specific areas of cybersecurity, such as penetration testing or threat intelligence. To ensure a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment, these stakeholders must work together to identify and evaluate the following key components. Organizational assets. These include sensitive data, systems, networks, applications, and infrastructure that are critical to the organization's operations. Assets may be physical or digital, and may be owned or managed by the organization or third-party vendors. Threats. These are potential events or actions that could compromise the confidentiality, integrity, or availability of organizational assets. Threats may be intentional, e.g. hacking, social engineering, or unintentional, e.g. human error, natural disasters. Vulnerabilities. These are weaknesses or flaws in organizational assets that could be exploited by threats. Vulnerabilities may exist in people, processes, technology, or physical infrastructure. Controls. These are measures put in place to mitigate or reduce the likelihood and impact of identified threats and vulnerabilities. Controls may be technical, e.g., firewalls, encryption, administrative, e.g. policies, procedures, or physical, e.g. access controls, surveillance. Risk assessment methodology. This involves identifying, categorizing, and prioritizing risks based on their likelihood and potential impact on the organization. Risk assessment methodologies may include quantitative, qualitative, or hybrid approaches. Risk mitigation and treatment strategies. These are plans and actions put in place to reduce or mitigate identified risks. Strategies may include risk avoidance, transfer, mitigation, or acceptance. Continuous monitoring and review. This involves regularly reviewing and updating the risk assessment to ensure that it remains comprehensive and effective. Continuous monitoring involves tracking changes to the organization's assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and controls, as well as emerging trends and threats. By engaging these stakeholders and evaluating these key components, organizations can conduct a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment that effectively addresses their unique risk landscape and protects their sensitive data and systems. The realm of cybersecurity risk assessment, a domain where the stakes are high and the margins for error are slim. As I delved into the heart of this complex issue, I was reminded of the intricate web of relationships that exist within an organization. It's not just about IT, it's about people, processes, and technology coming together in harmony to safeguard the very lifeblood of a company, its data and systems. In my experience, identifying and evaluating the key components of a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment requires a symphony of stakeholders working in concert. At the forefront of this effort are the executive leaders, who set the tone and provide the necessary resources to support a robust risk management program. They must recognize that cybersecurity is not simply an IT problem, but a business imperative that demands a proactive and strategic approach. Next, the information security team plays a pivotal role in identifying and assessing potential vulnerabilities in the organization's assets, threats, and controls. These experts are tasked with staying abreast of the latest threats and technologies, often walking the fine line between security and usability. Their technical prowess is essential in evaluating the likelihood and potential impact of various threats on the organization's assets. However, the buck doesn't stop there. Business unit leaders, department heads, and even individual employees have a stake in the cybersecurity risk assessment process. They must be aware of the assets and data under their purview, as well as the potential vulnerabilities and threats that could compromise these assets. This awareness enables them to make informed decisions about resource allocation, risk mitigation, and incident response. One of the most critical stakeholders is often overlooked: the internal auditor. As an independent and objective party, internal auditors bring a unique perspective to the risk assessment process. They can identify areas of weakness, evaluate the effectiveness of existing controls, and provide recommendations for improvement. Throughout the process, I found myself pondering the importance of effective communication and collaboration. It's not just about assembling a team of stakeholders, it's about fostering an environment where each individual feels invested in the outcome. I recall a particular instance where a cross-functional team was formed to assess the cybersecurity risks associated with a new product launch. The team comprised representatives from IT, product development, marketing, and legal. By engaging in open and honest dialogue, they were able to identify potential vulnerabilities and develop a comprehensive risk mitigation strategy that aligned with the organization's overall goals. As the risk assessment process unfolded, I began to appreciate the need for a structured approach. This is where frameworks such as NIST, ISO 27001, or COBIT come into play. These frameworks provide a common language and set of guidelines for identifying and evaluating risks, as well as implementing controls to mitigate them. In one instance, I worked with an organization that was struggling to prioritize its cybersecurity risks. By applying a risk management framework, we were able to categorize risks based on their likelihood and potential impact. This enabled the organization to focus its resources on the most critical areas, while also developing a long-term strategy for managing risks across the enterprise. The journey of cybersecurity risk assessment is not without its challenges. It requires a willingness to confront the unknown, to acknowledge vulnerabilities, and to adapt to an ever-evolving threat landscape. Throughout the process, I felt a sense of trepidation, as if we were peeling back the layers of an onion, only to reveal more complexity and uncertainty. Yet, as we progressed, I began to see the emergence of a robust risk management program. one that was tailored to the organization's unique needs and circumstances. As I looked back on the experience, I realized that the key components of a comprehensive cybersecurity risk assessment are not just about identifying assets, threats, vulnerabilities, and controls. It's about recognizing the intricate relationships between people, processes, and technology. It's about fostering a culture of awareness, collaboration, and adaptability. It's about acknowledging that cybersecurity is not a destination, but a continuous journey of growth, improvement, and resilience.